The message that I bring to Israel is this: you may be strong enough on your own to defend yourself, but as long as America exists, you will never ever have to. We will always be there by your side. That's the message that President Biden delivered to the Prime Minister from the moment this crisis began. It's the message that I and my other colleagues in the government have delivered to our Israeli counterparts on a daily, even an hourly basis. It's the message that I bring with me to our discussions today, and it's what I'll affirm when I meet with the members of Israel's newly formed national emergency government. You heard the Prime Minister say it. This must be a moment for moral clarity. The failure to unambiguously condemn terrorism puts at risk not only people in Israel, but people everywhere. We're delivering on our word, supplying ammunition, interceptors, to replenish Israel's Iron Dome, alongside other defense materiel. First shipments of U.S. military support have already arrived in Israel, and more is on the way. As Israel's defense needs evolve, we will work with Congress to make sure that they're met. And I can tell you, there is overwhelming bipartisan support in our Congress for Israel's security. Here in Israel and everywhere, we will reaffirm the crystal clear warning that President Biden issued yesterday to any adversary, state or non-state, thinking of taking advantage of the current crisis to attack Israel. Don't. The United States has Israel's back.
Yeah, so this is all just so convenient, right? That Israel was attacked and Israel is fighting back, and Uncle Sam is supplying the war machines to Israel. Like I have asked in a previous video, right? When we look through the whole situation or the whole incident in the Middle East, you are forced to ask yourself, like, who benefits the most? Is it Israel? Is it Hamas? Is it the government under Mahmoud Abbas? Or is it Uncle Sam? Because I know Uncle Sam will never let an opportunity like this one go to waste. No. They will never, ever let an opportunity like this go to waste. When they see an opportunity, they must make use of it. They will just come in and be like, we sympathize with the people of Israel for this carnage that has been put on them. And we say this categorically, that any act of terrorism is and should be condemned. We, the American people, condemn it, and we stand behind the people of Israel. And we will make sure they get all the weapons that they need. Remember, those weapons come with a price tag. But in all seriousness, right, I think that Israel has a right to protect themselves. I think that what was done on the people of Israel was horrible, and I have condemned it time and time again. And I think that it is a responsibility of every single one of us to condemn these atrocities. We cannot condone this level of hatred and destruction and barbaricness. We cannot condone it. This is something that all of us must condemn. And while we are condemning Hamas for this horrific act, we must not forget to pay a close look on what Israel is doing in Gaza, because Israel has cut off power, water, food, and medicine from the people in Gaza. And they might say that the whole intention is to squeeze out Hamas. But you must ask yourself, how is that even possible? Because Hamas is the de facto government of Gaza. So they must have planned for this very, very carefully. They might have saved enough food and medication and water and fuel because they knew that after this act was carried out, Israel was going to react like this. They might have protected themselves from all this. But the people had no idea. The ordinary men and women in the streets had no idea something like this was ongoing. The ordinary children in schools had no idea. The ordinary people in the hospital who are trying to get medication for their respective illnesses had no idea that Hamas was planning something as devastating as this. They have not done any preparations, and now Israel has cut off all these basic things from the people in Gaza. How do you expect them to survive if they cannot have access to life-saving things like medication? How can you expect them to survive if they have no power in the city? And by the way, how come Gaza had to get everything from Israel? How come Israel was the one controlling the access to water, food, power, and medication for Gaza? How come? And if Israel said that they have let the people in Gaza live freely and that the Palestinians in Gaza were not being subjected to any persecution, how come their access to water and power and medication and food is being controlled by Israel? How come? How come their lives is on the good graces of Israel? How come? So people must look into all this very carefully. People must not lose sight of exactly what is going on. The next speech I want us to watch is from Bibi himself, the Prime Minister of Israel.
Israel is at war. We didn't want this war. It was forced upon us in the most brutal and savage way. But though Israel didn't start this war, Israel will finish it. Once the Jewish people were stateless. Once the Jewish people were defenseless. No longer. Hamas will understand that by attacking us, they've made a mistake of historic proportions. We will exact a price that will be remembered by them and Israel's other enemies for decades to come. The savage attacks that Hamas perpetrated against innocent Israelis are mind-boggling, slaughtering families in their homes, massacring hundreds of young people at an outdoor festival, kidnapping scores of women, children, and elderly, even Holocaust survivors. Hamas terrorists bound, burned, and executed children. They are savages. Hamas is ISIS. And just as the forces of civilizations united to defeat ISIS, the forces of civilization must support Israel in defeating Hamas. I want to thank President Biden for his unequivocal support. I want to thank leaders across the world who are standing with Israel today. I want to thank the people and Congress of the United States of America. In fighting Hamas, Israel is not only fighting for its own people, it is fighting for every country that stands against barbarism. Israel will win this war. And when Israel wins, the entire civilized world wins.
Yeah, the whole incident is really, really devastating. And if you saw what they did, you will be so disappointed with us humans. And I hope that Israel, as they go in to try to fish out members of Hamas, they must try as much as they can not to wreak havoc on the people in Gaza. And they also must remember that sometimes when you push people to the wall, when you push people so far away, or when you make life so tough for people in a given area, you actually do not help the situation, but make it worse. Now, Israel might think that by going into Gaza with full force is gonna solve the problem. It's gonna eliminate the Hamas threat. But you must ask yourself, there are 2.3 plus or minus people in Gaza, and these people are Palestinians. What do you think will happen to them? What do you think if you go in and start shooting indiscriminately, or if you just drop bomb from the sky and rake all the buildings into pieces and kill their family members? What do you think that will do to them? And how do you think that will play into their psychology and into the narrative that Hamas has been telling them? That is not gonna bring any peace. That will just cause more chaos and confusion. There's one thing that people must understand. A war that is based on ideology is very difficult to win. It's really difficult to win. You must look for a way to solve these kind of problems without necessarily doing it the military style. I think America discovered that in Afghanistan and even in Iraq. And when they pull out, they realized that just military confrontation alone cannot get things resolved. They needed other approach. So maybe, just maybe, another approach to this issue could be the best way to go. But you guys out there, let me know your thoughts and opinions on what is going on between Israel and Hamas. Do you think that Israel would just be able to eliminate Hamas without actually impacting the lives of the people in Gaza? Do you think that if Israel wage a full-on war on Gaza, they will somehow be able to eliminate Hamas without actually killing a lot of Palestinian people? And at the end of the day, how is all this gonna end? So please share your thoughts and opinions with us in the comment section below. And like always, see you in the next one.